comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling. Cut the chatter.
Well, as it seems, my other two in-year lists have been doing really good, so I'm gonna milk that to get a lot more views. So yeah, we're gonna make some other in-year lists. I've just come up with some ideas, but the first one I'm gonna do is the most disappointing movies of the year. This is just a list of movies. This is not a ranking list. It's not like top 10. It's not anything like that. This is just the most disappointing movies this year. That just movies that stood out to me as either lazy or just I wanted so much more from them and I didn't get it. And I didn't see every movie this year. That's a given. Like, I didn't see a lot of movies this year I heard were really disappointing. I just didn't see, like, The Predator. I heard that one was really bad. The Nun. Also heard that one was really disappointing and bad. Peppermints. God, September had a lot of disappointing. Mile 22. There were a lot of really disappointing movies this year that I didn't get to. These are the ones I did end up getting to. And a lot of these movies I have positive, a couple of these I actually have really positive reviews for them. Now I look back and I don't really like the movies that much. But here we go. Let's go over the most disappointing movies of 2018. So yeah, let's do this. Also, if it's on the 10 worst of the year, it won't be included on here. It won't be. Alright, the first movie I want to talk about here as most disappointing is obviously Pacific Rim Uprising. Because when I saw Pacific Rim Uprising, I was really excited because I really liked Pacific Rim 1. And after I saw Pacific Rim Uprising, I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. I thought I got what I wanted. But then I rewatched it, and the more I thought about it, the more I just thought, the movie's so boring. Like, it's just so uninteresting. And the whole movie's the setup for this climax that, while it is fun, it doesn't really, I don't think it's worth it to see that the epic climax that I praised. I don't love the climax as much. I think it's a bit too destruction-y. But I guess you can just sit back and have some fun with the movie. I just think this climax needed just not as much build-up. I wanted more kaiju in the movie. It felt like the movie either shouldn't have happened or should have been written differently. I would have rathered a dumb, fun movie than a really boring movie that had a fun climax. This movie I consider to not be that great of a movie. Not one of the worst of the year bad, but I definitely was pretty disappointed by this movie, and I really expected more from another Pacific Rim movie. The next movie I wanted to talk about ended up being, I liked it when I first saw it. I thought it was fun, entertaining. The more I think about it, the more I'm just like, that doesn't make sense. Rampage. Okay, Rampage is fine. It's fun, I guess, for a movie that's given this premise. But I just feel like Rampage, it lacks a lot of coherency. Like, I think the only part of this movie I really like that much is the last 15 minutes. The rest of it's kind of like Uprising, where it's really boring, only this time it is so dumb. Like, it's just such a dumb movie. And when watching, you can't take anything seriously because it's so miraculously dumb. And in a movie this year that I actually didn't think was that bad, and I actually thought it was like, hey, why don't we not just be dumb fun? Let's actually try and go for fun. It's The Meg, which will not be included on this video because I quite enjoyed The Meg. I still really like The Meg, and I don't like this movie as much. I don't hate this movie. I'm not going to ever watch it. But Rampage is a movie that I think needs to be recognized. Not really. Just don't see Rampage. I don't support this lazy, incoherent, stupid mess of a movie that's milking off of the success Dwayne Johnson's been making recently. This is a movie that I quite didn't like, honestly. Like, I think this movie could have been a lot better, could have just been a lot more fun, and it just don't make this movie. This movie just didn't need to happen. Really, this movie did not need to happen. This movie I've talked about quite a lot, so I'm going to try and keep it a bit more brief than usual. This is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This movie, the only thing this movie really does for me is just proves that the entire magic of the original Jurassic Park is not, you can't make that movie again. Jurassic Park is the only one of these movies that I absolutely love. I did quite enjoy the first Jurassic World, and I did kind of enjoy Fallen Kingdom when I first saw it. I made so many videos about this movie, and you already know, just the more I thought about it, the more I was just like, this movie just got worse for me. And I just feel like Fallen Kingdom, it's a rough draft. The script is a rough draft. Not as, like, rough draft as Revenge of the Fallen. Revenge of the Fallen is, like, the worst version of Fallen Kingdom. But Fallen Kingdom is such a sloppy, stupid movie. It's stupid. Like it's dumb. It's really dumb. But that's not all this movie has to it that just makes it so much, it's just lazy. It's just not good. It just really proves that Jurassic Park movies, yeah, I find Jurassic World 3, just, hopefully that one will be better than this monstrosity. I just didn't like Fallen Kingdom. I hate Sony Animation. I'm just getting out of the way. I did love their most recent movie, Into the Spider-Verse. Like, a lot. I actually rewatched that movie last night. Like, just literally, like, right after I actually finished editing the Best of the Year, then I watched Into the Spider-Verse again. But I am also, but right, Sony Animations, they have some good franchises. I liked Cloudy 1, didn't like Cloudy 2, and I like the other two Hotel Transylvanias, so I expect a lot more from Hotel Transylvania 3 than this really lazy, dumb kids movie. Like, the other two, they're kids movies. They're dumb as sure, but they have funny comedy, they have funny characters. This movie, I laughed once or twice. I just found this movie really boring and uninteresting. The other two movies would have been pretty boring if they weren't so funny. This movie's not very funny. I just found myself really bored and just thinking, this is not that good. And I just did not like Hotel Transylvania 3 as much as other people did. Didn't hate this movie. Just, I actually expected this movie to be on the 10 worst of the year when I first saw it. Didn't even get close to honorable mentions. Not even like the 20 worst. Because it's not a terrible movie. I do think it's a bad one, and I'm very disappointed that this is the Hotel Transylvania movie. Like I just don't really want more of these. Like, maybe Sony Animations could take a lesson and start making more Spider-Verse movies, because those are going to be great, and I don't need any more Hotel Transylvania movies, because this doesn't need to end up being another Ice Age. Just don't do that. I really like Dwayne Johnson, but I really did not like Skyscraper. Like, I thought it was okay when I first saw it, just like a lot of the movies this year, the more I thought about it, the more I just thought this movie's pretty freaking bad. It's actually really bad. It's really boring. It just steals from other movies to make its own mess, boring, bad movie. This movie's just milking everything off of Dwayne Johnson. Who decided that Skyscraper should exist? Because it is boring. And it is dumb, and the visuals are really lazy, and the villain is one of the worst this year has seen. This movie had a lot of bad stuff in it, and I quite didn't like this movie at all. I really, like, it's not like Fallen Kingdom where there's enjoyment to be had in this mess. Skyscraper has little to no enjoyment in it. It's just boring and lame. Yay, I get to talk about the ridiculousness that was Venom. Again, this movie I was so disappointed by. I didn't want this ridiculously kind of so bad it's good movie. I didn't want that. This is the worst movie that appears on this list, because it's the only one that made it to honorable mentions on the worst of the year. And I said, if it's on the list of the worst in the year, it doesn't get included in this video. If it's an honorable mention, I'll let it be on this video. Most of the honorable mentions I wasn't that disappointed by. I guess I was kind of disappointed by the Hurricane Heist, but not enough for me to really put it on this video, because I wasn't that surprised by it. I was very disappointed by Venom, because while I didn't have the highest expectations, I at least expected a good movie. Instead, I got a really freaking bad movie. And people like this movie, and if you expect Venom 2 or whatever to be rated R, I'm sorry, no. Venom 2 will not be rated R. Venom 2 is going to be another version of Venom 1, just worse, because you know Sony. You remember Amazing Spider-Man movies? I didn't like that Amazing Spider-Man 1 that much, but everyone else loved it. So I was like, fine, Amazing Spider-Man 2 will happen. Amazing Spider-Man 2, it happened and no one liked it, and I didn't like it either. I think that movie's really bad. But that's the same thing that's going to happen with Venom, except for I kind of hate Venom, and I'm probably going to think Venom 2 is one of the worst of its year. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine if you guys really want to see Venom again, PG-13, and seeing a generic Carnage, and just seeing Sony milk all the money they can get out of this movie that made $800 million. How did this movie go as well as it did on its box office and its audience? I don't know. I guess it's just kind of dumb fun. I'm going to go, I think it might be, I don't know if it's a Redbox yet, but if it is, I'm going to see that thing, because I didn't hate it. I actually had a great time watching the movie, kind of for how ridiculous and bad it was. But I just feel like people, if you expect to get another good, if you expect to get enjoyment, if you expect to get another fun movie like Venom 2, if you think Venom 2's going to be good, you are wrong, because Venom 2 is going to suck, and I will get to say the words, I told you so. Venom 2 is going to suck, because Venom 1 sucked. Well, you know what else is the most disappointing movie of the year? Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald freaking sucked! It sucked! I hate Crimes of Grindelwald to my grave. Screw Fantastic Beasts. I hate this movie. I don't give it like the lowest rating. It's not honorable mention, but worst of the year bad. But no, screw Fantastic Beasts. This movie sucked. This movie is lazy. This movie, it's the worst performing Harry Potter movie, and by God does it deserve it, because I just hate seeing my childhood turned into this really lazy, really bad movie. Like, what is there to like out of Crimes of Grindelwald? I liked the visuals, and I liked the fire scene, and I liked the opening scene. That's kind of it. That's kind of what I liked out of this movie. The rest of it comes across as this it's really boring. Like, it's boring. The plot, the character. It, like, the text characters in the original Fantastic Beasts, I didn't love the characters, but later you grow to like them. This movie's like, you don't like them anymore. Cuts them off and you hate them. I didn't like any... the only one I'm fine with is Newt Scamander. The rest of them are boring and uninteresting. The villain, Grindelwald, I was so disappointed by. I wanted to see more from him. I wanted to see more from freaking Dumbledore. I wanted to see more from another Harry Potter movie. And the thing about this movie is that the trailers... I wasn't so hyped for it because the trailers didn't show us really anything. And I think I know why the trailers didn't show us anything. Because there was nothing to show out of this really boring movie that I think I could have put on the honorable mention. I think now I'm rethinking of not putting that on the honorable mentions. This movie, I think, can go on the honorable mentions for the worst of the year. Crimes of Grindelwald, you suck. And you are the most disappointing movie of 2018 with ease. And you know what? I'm just thinking about this list that almost felt like a ranking. Because yes, Venom is the second most disappointing. I guess A Wrinkle in Time was more disappointing than Venom. But I'm just going to say Venom and Crimes of Grindelwald, the two most disappointing movies of the year that ended up being on this list. Yeah, I did really not like any of those other movies. But none of them were bad. My favorite's probably Rampage and my second would be Uprising. But yeah, what are your guys' most disappointing movies of the year? Were there any this year that you were just thinking, what went wrong? Who did this? Why? Let me know in the comment section below. I might make a most surprising movies of the year. I'll do a box office video, which will come out. I was actually thinking of making that today, but then I just looked at the numbers. Not Bumblebee. Bumblebee's not doing that great. It's the one that really made me put this to December, like December 30th or something, is the numbers that Aquaman's doing, because that one's going to make it into the top 10 most successful of the year. So yeah, I will do opening weekend stuff, which I could make soon, because opening weekends this year, Aquaman didn't even make it into the 10 biggest of the year. So bye!